So this afternoon we're going to continue our sermon series. I need the clicker. We're going to continue our sermon series in James chapter 5, starting in verse 13 to 20. But first, I want to ask a question. Have any of you ever had God answer one of your prayers? I know He did for me. When I was a junior in high school, I spent most of my high school career preparing to be an architect. I've told this story before, but God closed that door and He called me into full-time ministry. I was obedient in that moment, and I said to Him prayerfully, okay, I will wait on your direction. I had no idea what I was going to do. I had no idea where I was going to go to school. I had no idea what ministry God even wanted me to do, except I knew that He called me to be a pastor. And that's all I knew. So I prayerfully waited for Him. And prayer is a fundamental part of our faith. It's so important. James tells us today in our passage, James chapter 5, starting in verse 13, "Is any one of you in trouble? He should pray. Is anyone happy? Let him sing songs of praise. Is any one of you sick? He should call the elders of the church to pray over him and anoint him with oil in the name of the Lord. And the prayer offered in faith will make the sick person well. The Lord will raise him up. If he has sinned, he will be forgiven. Therefore, confess your sins to each other and pray for each other so that you may be healed. The prayer of a righteous man is powerful and effective. Elijah was a man just like us. He prayed earnestly that it would not rain, and it did not rain on the land for 3.5 years. Again, he prayed, and the heavens gave rain, and the earth produced its crops. My brothers, if one of you should wander from the truth, and someone should bring him back, remember this. Whoever turns a sinner from the error of his way will save him from death and cover over a multitude of sins." Now, in this passage, James is saying a lot. The penman at the end of this passage, he's jumping around from one topic to the next because it's getting close to being the end of the letter. He goes from people being in trouble to them being happy, sickness brought on by sin, confession of sin, and saving from sin. But there's one thing that ties all these things together, and that's prayer. James is saying no matter what is going on, we should pray. He even brings up the example of Elijah. He was just an ordinary guy, but with his prayers and God's power, he was able to stop the things of earth, the ways that people saw the earth working. This passage shows that it is by God's power that things are done, and not by our words and what we say. His words are the ones that have power, for it's His words that brought the whole world into creation. So if it's His words that really matter, then what is the point of us praying? The real point is to set dependence in all that we do on God. I want to encourage us with the conclusion of my story from earlier. I waited for God prayerfully and earnestly to provide an answer to my prayer. And He did. He provided an answer. I was provided with many arrows that pointed to this school. But it wasn't until I came to Encounter in the fall of my senior year. And as soon as we pulled into the parking lot and I got out of the car, God filled me with a single word to answer my prayer. And that word was home. I felt at home for the first time in my life, and I knew I was exactly where God wanted me to be. How much more could we all do? How much could we affect this world if we were more willing to pray in all situations?